for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, VenomFire here, back with the video, and today me bringing you guys an updated gun type doubles offensive mini scheme. So this isn't going to be necessarily a full scheme of every single play, but it's just going to be some cool setups that I like. We're going to go over the runs a little bit more because I do like this quick base a lot. Quick base becoming more and more popular means that I do get to get back in this formation. Of course, we're going to be in the Las Vegas Raiders playbook. I think it's the best tight doubles, that or Steelers. They're completely different, some different plays, but yeah, Raiders playbook is probably the one you want to rock with just because you have the threat of so many other good formations, including the runs and the bunch, tight end bunch, and some other stuff as well. The plays that we're actually going to run is going to be zig under, halfback quick base, out smash, and flood drive. Of course, there's other plays like Z spot, tight end curl, mesh spot, and of course some other things. But also, before we get into the video, I do want to remind you guys to go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 17,000, so if you could, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But yeah, let's get straight into it. I'm going to start out with the run play, this quick base, because as I mentioned, base is becoming more and more popular. If you want to know how to stop halfback base in particular, I did a video 2-3 days ago on how to stop the quick base, so you guys should definitely go check that out if you're struggling with that. I went over the trips tight end one, which is even more popular than this one. But overall, we're just going to show you guys how to use this run. And it's pretty solid. It's pretty good just because you want to kind of cut it up the middle like this. Now, we're going to get shedded pretty good by Grady Jarrett over there. And the biggest problem with this run is that sometimes the receiver, because he's so compressed in, he can actually end up picking him up. Now, that's not usually what you want, but what I like so much about this run is that it's almost a guaranteed 5 yards. You see, if I just snap the ball, run it up the middle, I can really just go anywhere and pick up an automatic 5 yards. Now, of course, there's threats of going a lot deeper than 5 yards, picking up some more yards. I can cut it back like this, and you see how I have some open space. Of course, Singletary, not the best running back in the game, so but you can really do some cool stuff. You see I can kind of fake him out, cut it back in. Now this is a pretty good defensive formation, nickel normal. Base in particular is pretty good against like 3-3-5 wide. There you see we're able to pick up like 10 yards. Now, as I mentioned, because it's such a compressed formation, getting to the outside typically is pretty difficult, especially when your receiver blocks that D end, because you want the receiver to kind of block that slot cornerback, but because the defensive line is not pinched, we can't really get that to happen. Of course, if you wanted to, you could do some things like this. Sometimes if you flip it, you can get people in different spots, and right there you see we're able to flip it, and now we can take it to the crib. So even though we get a slower, well, not to the crib because he's so slow, but even though sometimes you flip it, you get a slower handoff animation. Things like that can happen where maybe the blocks develop differently. So maybe because you're getting such a quick handoff that people are just coming free. Sometimes the slower handoff allows the blocks to develop a little bit more, lets you be more patient, read the gaps a little bit better, and then kind of make your decision. Right there, you see that was some pretty good stick work, but overall I do think patient running is what you want to do in this game, especially when you're running inside zone and base. You see that was some really good stick work where I just kind of hesitated, read the blocks, and there again, you see even though I'm hesitating, I'm able to cut it up the middle, pick up 4+ yards. And you see it's going to be difficult to shoot the gap, of course, and you see we're just getting into people, getting good animations, falling forward. And that's really what you want to do. Of course, if I wanted to, I could do some motion. Some of the things in particular I like to do is actually motion digs over. The reason you would do this is to actually get the slot cornerback to the opposite side, especially if it's man coverage. If it's zone coverage, they can also sometimes shadow over as well if they're not base aligned. And now you see that the blocks are going to develop ideally the way that you want them. You usually want the left tackle to pick up that defensive end. And again, if I motion Beasley over, I think they should still shift. Yes, they do. So I can really motion either player over. Of course, I would rather motion that slot guy over so that the outside receiver takes a better angle on that cornerback. But of course, you could go with either option. And again, you can flip it. You can do some other things as well. But let's move into our next play, which is going to be the zig under. Zig under play is going to be a very playbook exclusive type of thing. This is not in very many playbooks. It's not in Detroit. It's not in Pittsburgh. Of course, tight doubles in a couple of other formations as well. But this play in particular is very, very solid because you can do a lot with it. Now, I want to focus in on Y and A. What I like to do is smart out A right off the bat, get his corner out a little bit shorter. And for our first setup, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this relatively stock. Now, I don't like to smart out Y. I want him to run a little bit deeper, so we're going to leave him alone. And then with B's on this kind of reverse zig route, and then X is on the actual zig route. So for now, we're just going to run it like this. Of course, we're going to adjust some things a little bit later, but I'm just going to motion John Brown out like this, and you see how he's going to kind of pull zones down, but also that's where I want to throw the ball. So he gets in a really good spot. Pretty much he actually ends up pulling zones to the side, and then usually they get passed on to the corner route because we smart routed it, and also because the corner route is on the short side of the field. So when you're doing that, that's just going to allow John Brown to get wide open. This, of course, will beat man coverage, but you see right there, you can actually pass lead it upfield. Low ball it is what I recommend because you probably will eat a hit stick from either the vertical hook or the potential quad flat, depending on who they have there. But that's just a really difficult thing to defend. Overall, I can snap it a little bit earlier, I can wait, and then I can throw it as almost a drag route, and you see how the vert hooks are still going upfield. So overall, that's a solid way that I like to run this. Going into the next route combination, I'm going to touch up on some of the other reasons that the formation is good. One of the things is going to be because of the blocking. Now, with Diggs' route, we're going to kind of use it in a similar fashion to curl flat out of the gun trips tight end, his little post route. Of course, I can smart out it. I'm not the biggest fan of smart routing. I usually leave it, but what we're going to do is we're just going to put A on a little delay fade. I'm going to slant B, and I'm just going to put X on a little flat. So we're just going to go with something like this to start. Of course, I'm bringing up the blocking. If he were to send heat, pretty much what I could do is I can kind of roll out here. I could delay fade A, and then I could throw him up the field. We get an inaccurate pass, but you see how usually he's going to have to use your Y. Y should beat man coverage as well. If you're struggling against man coverage, you could, of course, smart out Y, but yeah, I could put him on a delay fade. Not only could I do a delay fade, but I could do a traditional streak as well from that tight end slot. That would certainly be an option. You see how Diggs gets in a really good spot. There's no need to smart out him at all. If you smart out him, he's just going to be even shorter, and then he could potentially get picked up by zone drops or curl flats, cloud flats, things of that nature. That's overall the reason that I like to go with the setup, just where I leave him traditionally. Of course, you have other routes. I could put X on either an out route or a flat. I could motion him out, something like this, and then right there you see how B, or he should have got over the top. I threw it a little bit prematurely there, but yeah, certainly a good route combo there. Anyways, we're going to hop into our last setup out of Zig Under. What I'm going to do in this setup is I'm going to put B on a hitch. I'm actually not going to smart out A for this one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flat X, and I'm going to put Y on an out route and smart out. So it's going to look like this. Overall, this is a pretty solid setup. It just has a lot of diversity right there. You see our first read is going to be the hitch. Also, one thing with the hitch I can do is I can motion it out. I usually, with this particular setup, I'm going to motion X out or I'm going to motion B out. I usually like to motion B out just so that he gets a little bit further and that the vert hook won't defend him. And you see how the cloud flat's always going to play the corner out. So that's the reason that I like that route combo a lot. Of course, on this left-hand side, we have our other threats. And overall, it's a solid route combo. A lot of these I like because you don't have to send out the running back every time. I can create good stuff out of 4 routes or 3 routes. But yeah, that's going to be our last setup of Zig Under. Let's move into our next play, which is Out Smash. We're going to create some of the same route combinations that we did or some similar stuff. But starting out, let's see why I like this play so much. Now, it's going to be the corner out again. I like Y. Also, this X route is not terrible, so I can kind of motion him out here. And you see how he's just going to get in a really good spot, almost like running a hitch on the outside, but he goes a little bit deeper. So I like those particular routes. Of course, you notice what I did is I smart routed Y because he goes really deep if you don't smart route him. As far as some of the other things, right off the bat, I could go with like an in-route type combo, so I could put just B on an in-route. I like to go with something like this, or B on a wheel, B on an in-route, and I'm going to motion Beasley out. You see how X gets in a really good spot, even though Y doesn't get super open. I did accidentally let him set there. Y's doing a lot for us and opening up X. Of course, if I really wanted to get Y open even more, I could just hitch X traditionally, and then we could go with something like this. So, of course, I can delay fade A still, but we have some other options. I can motion him out, and this is just a similar setup to Z-Spot. You see how Y he sometimes gets open against cover 2, although it is defended relatively well there. Not only can I go with a kind of hitch concept, but I can also go with like an out route. So I would probably go with something like this if I had to, or if I was getting defended well. Just a little bench concept. And you see how Y is going to get open now. We can kind of pass him inside. Now, if you feel like it's a little bit too short, because he does run it very short, I could leave him on his corner out, although you'll see it's going to be pretty deep down the field. He's going to break right about there. Now it can get open, but things like man coverage, it's not going to be super well at. And if you have a concern with them kind of running into each other out of that setup, what I could do is I could just put X on an out route and I could still motion X out. So I go with something like this, motion him out, snap the ball right there, and then you see X is going to be wide open. Or of course we could throw it to Y. Usually both those players won't be defended, and the out route motioned out will not be defended by a defensive end hard flat or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as some of the other things I like to do out of this play, I like to use Y as a post route. So first off the bat, we're going to go with something like this. X on a slant, A on a little streak, B on a flat, and we're going to motion Diggs over. This is certainly a good route combination. Just a little bit of unique stuff. Right there you see we're able to hit the slant, low ball, the flat was open as well. So you can definitely create some unique stuff out of this one. As far as that is concerned, I could always go with like a curl flat, maybe a hitched Y. Something like this could be good, and you snap Y a little bit earlier, but yeah, you can just create some unique stuff. I love the motion in this. I think it allows you to do a lot with being able to motion those guys outside the numbers. And yeah, let's move into our last play, which is flood drive. Now, flood drive is a pretty solid play. I think sometimes it can actually beat cover 3 stock, but really it's just a good quick snap play. Now, I don't have too many different setups for this one, but I do have one. Our first one's just going to be relatively quick snap. So this is a setup I like to go to just to kind of quick snap it. What I do is I would just wheel RB. So I'm going to go with this. I wheel RB, and I just really snap the ball like this. It has a lot of different options. You have the in route, you have the drag route, so it certainly gives you some extra options. As far as other ways to kind of disguise it, maybe I could go with a route combination like this or something like this, or maybe I hitch X and flat B. So you could always create things like this, and this is something I could have done out of that out under play as well. But usually it's like a quick snap play. You always want to have a couple of plays that you can kind of just go to the line, snap the ball, and be ready with. As far as the other setups I was talking about, where I could actually motion Diggs over, and then I could go with something like this, where here's what I would run. You could also kind of confuse him, where you wait for him to set, and then you snap the ball. Right here, you see how B just gets open right off the bat. You do have to throw it a little bit quicker. I was even late on that because he kind of stopped, but this is just going to be a better kind of corner out to turn into a post. This out underplay or out smash is better for a corner route. This flood drive one is probably better to be used as a post route. So of course you can use it as that. You can do some other things as well. Like I mentioned, I could go with something like this, and I can motion Diggs across. I can snap him the ball in between so that we get a little bit of a cleaner break, and then I can still throw him over the top like that. So overall, it gives you a lot of options. That's going to pretty much end the video there. Just again, some short setups that I did not really talk about too much in my actual video. Overall, if you guys did enjoy, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and peace. I'm out of here.